Hi, it's Pastor Paul L. Anderson here at the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, where we believe God's blessings never stop flowing. It is Marvelous Monday. I hope you had a wonderful holiday during this July 4th holiday. You stayed safe, you traveled, and you did all the wonderful things that you needed to do. And you gave the Lord the praise and worship that he was due in his house on yesterday. Today, I invite you to look with me at a very powerful passage out of 2 Samuel, the 5th chapter, verses 1 through 10. This is when David becomes king of Israel. David has captured Jerusalem. It is then that David leads all of his men to Jerusalem to fight against the Jebusites. They were the original inhabitants of the land, and they were living there. They had taunted David, saying that you'll never get in here. Even the blind and the lame can't get out of here. And the Jebusites thought that they were safe. But David captures the fortress of Zion. It is called the city of David. It is here that David attacks them, and he lets them know, all of the Jebusites, that his faith and his trust is in God. He knows that God is able to be with him. Remember, David was the one who put his faith and his trust in God. David finds himself as a little boy minding his own business in preparation for this, taking care of his father's sheep. He goes out to take his brother something to eat. And as he does this, he sees this great big Philistine by the name of Goliath. It is then that David begins to use his faith that he used out there taking care of his sheep to realize that God was preparing him to take care of the sheep of Israel. It is after he killed Goliath that Saul, who was the king of his day, begins to let him know that God has done something great with you. David had a wonderful way about himself. As he was growing up, he was a great musician. He played music that soothed not only Saul, but everyone that was around him. Because of this, he gets a chance to marry Saul's daughter, and now he becomes the next in line of leadership. We're at the position now that David has captured all of those persons who were the foes of the armies of Israel. He is now having the glory of God. He is now having all of the hand of God upon him. He goes and he conquers land. And as he makes these conquests, it is because he realizes that God is with him. My brothers and sisters, as David has gone through something in his life to remind him that God is with him, you and I have been through some things in our lives to remind us that God is also with us. He'll be with us even as we walk through the valleys of the shadow of death. He will be with us even in the presence of our enemies. He will be with us and lead us and guide us even when we find ourselves running and hiding from those things in the natural that seems to be chasing us. But David has to remind himself his faith and his trust is in God and not in his hand, nor in his armor, nor in the armor of his men. Whenever you and I allow God to be the one, to be our leader, to be our guide, to be the one who is the author of our faith and the giver of our salvation, we can conquer all the foes that come our way. We find out here in 2 Samuel, the 5th chapter, that David becomes king of all of Israel, not some, but all of Israel, because God has given him an inclusive view, a view to conquer. My brothers and sisters, you and I need to know that God has given us an inclusive view. We're to conquer all the forces, all the foes of God. We have to make sure that we allow the Holy Spirit to be our leader, to be our guide, to be our shelter and our protector. It is then that we can forge places that we've never been before. Because whenever the Spirit of the Lord is upon us, we can't help but do the things that God has called us to do. Today, I hope you and I, as we begin this Monday, this first work day of the week, that we'll realize there's nothing that's in front of us that's bigger than our God, because we serve a God who doeth all things well, because our God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all we're able to ask, say, or think, according to the mighty power of his Spirit at work within us. Today, allow the Lord to live strong within you and do all the things that you've been called to do. Take the Lord with you everywhere you go, and we'll talk with you again on tomorrow.
To sow a seed to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship, visit our newly redesigned website, thefountainofraleigh.org, and select Sow a Seed from the homepage. Also, giving has been made easier with the new Fountain of Raleigh app, available now in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download today, select Giving from the main menu, and then follow the directions to complete your giving through Subsplash.
Thank you so very much for all of your gifts and donations that you've given to the Fountain of Raleigh Fellowship. We thank you for what you've done in the past, what you're currently doing, and what you will do in the future. Your gifts and donations helps us to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, not only locally, but throughout the world. Thank you again for your gifts, and may God continue to richly bless you. It is here at the Fountain that we believe that we are exceedingly and abundantly blessed, and may you receive those blessings that God has in store for you.